Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Learning without tab is going to be the subject today. This is kind of a reaction to a series of events that recently happened. You guys that watch the channel often are aware of the sticker challenge that I do on most videos. And one of the licks that I played, if you don't know what that challenge is, I play a lick or an intro, and you have to name the player and the song that it's from to win a case sticker from the Wayne's World of Mandolin. So one of the licks that I did was from a tune called Duncan and Brady, which was a really, really hot song in probably the early 90s for the Johnson Mountain Boys. And it had this really signature lick. That's the phrase that's played in that tune as part of the arrangement. And David McLaughlin was the mandolin player. Somebody immediately got that. But as a result of looking into that tune and to be sure that I had the right notes for the lick, I actually found a live video of the Johnson Mountain Boys doing that, I think from the American Music Shop. And looking in the comments from that video from several years back, somebody was asking about tab for that particular lick, and it really did kind of blow me down to see that, because it's such a short little passage and it happens right around the outline of a C chord. That's what key that's being played in. And when I think of tab, I think of, probably fiddle tunes, like more difficult passages than that to be able to hear, or just like larger bodies of work, like learning classical pieces. And I've used tab in the past, and it's an amazing tool. I'm not saying anything bad about tab at all, but we shouldn't feel like anything that we're ever going to be able to play has to be on tab, has to be tabbed out in front of us. If we were in a situation, if one of your buddies has written some tunes or something like that, and you just need to be able to react to that music, obviously there's not going to be any tab available. So again, this being a reaction to a series of events, a recent video that I did about enclosures, where I talk about outlining the chord, and you can watch that video. I don't want to go into that content because even the language of some of that can sound intimidating. But to begin to develop your ear so that you could hear that phrase and be able to just play that line, something that I mentioned in that enclosure video that a lot of people have responded to is when I took just the intervals of the chord. In this case, a C major. I'm playing a C note on the 5th fret of the G string, then an E note, that's a third above the C, 1, 2, 3. Then I have the 5th above that, 1, 2, 3. And then we're back to the root note of C. And something that we can begin to do to help our ear recognize the intervals around those notes that outline the chord, that's an easier concept than enclosures, is just to play chromatic notes that lead into each one of those intervals. That's a simple little thing to do that we're taking. If you're a bluegrasser and you're familiar with Bill Monroe's chop chord, you can take that muscle memory and play those notes. We play those 3 steps. We could keep going into the next octave and play it around all of those notes for 2 octaves of a C major arpeggio. Now back to that lick. Look at how much chromaticism is in that one phrase. Okay, your ear should be able to tell when you hear that phrase, it's starting on the 5th scale degree, and then it's leading into the root note. Then we have an A note. It's a scale note if we were playing. So if you know that scale, that information should kind of be clicking from from that part of your fretboard studies, from knowing the scale, and all of that comes together. There's another one. Those are chromatic notes into that third scale degree. So this is just an example that happens to have those chromatic steps as part of the phrase. But even if it didn't, the fact that we're playing those notes into those most important intervals, if you wanted to call it that, I think it's fair to say that, because those are the notes of the chord. This is one way that we can begin to grow into a player that's able to hear a melody and figure it out, or to transcribe a line that someone improvised. So, and it doesn't have to be, I mean, obviously you can watch me play this and figure it out, but take some simple melodies like that you can already hum, and just learn to play those by ear, short little pieces of a melody, and work on just a couple of lines at a time instead of looking at the entire if it's a 3-part fiddle tune, you should definitely be thinking of that as almost like 3 different songs that you're learning. Work at a slow pace and use the ear that you're developing through learning arpeggio studies or scale studies. That's what it really is all about. Not only for, figuring out melodies or other lines that you heard someone else play, but to be creative in your own way in situations where tab won't be available. So use tab. It's a great thing when you're learning tunes, and I think it speeds the process up. But we shouldn't be we shouldn't depend on it for everything that comes out of us. Sometimes I think a reminder like this of why we're doing this eat your vegetables work on the fretboard and studying the fretboard, that in the end, this is the kind of thing that we want to be able to pull off. Okay? I hope this helps, guys. See you soon.